All right, so this next example that I asked you to do on your own, you should have gotten 12 square root of 30 as your answer. And here's the work. You multiply the 2 and the 3, which becomes 6, right? You multiply the 12 and the 10 under the radical, which becomes 120. Then 120 breaks down into 4 times 30. 4 is the only number in the perfect square list that goes into, the only number in this list right here that goes into 120. The rest of them don't. And then you do what you got to do and you break it down. And then the 6 on the outside from the original 2 times 3 gets multiplied by the 2, which happens from the square root of 4. And 6 times 2 is 12. So the 12 is on the outside of the radical. Okay, now we have radicals of problems that are fractions here. Very simple. If you see, now this square root technically should extend all the way down. It's just, it was a formatting thing with the square root symbol. These square roots should go all the way down. So there should be no confusion. It's the 9 divided by 16, both of them are under the square root symbol. So what you do is you just break up the radical. Square root of 9 over square root of 16. You're allowed to apply that radical to the top and the bottom. And then you just do the square root of 9, which is 3. And the square root of 16, which is 4. Done. 3/4. Square root of 36 over square root of 49. Square root of 36 is 6. Square root of 49 is 7. Done. 6 over 7. Now these get a little trickier when you can't do the square root of 7 over the square root of 28. All right? Now, the 28, so now when the square root of 7 does not simplify at all, right? The square root of 28 does. Square root of 28, you could break that down into 4 times 7, and you could simplify it the way we know how to simplify radicals. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 7 is just square root of 7, so it's 2 radical 7. So this fraction, there's a radical 7 in the top, and then the bottom, the square root of 28 becomes 2 radical 7. And then we could simplify this fraction by canceling out. The radical 7 over the radical 7, they'll cancel out. So this answer, this final answer, there's really a 1 in the top over a 2 in the bottom. This final answer becomes, let's write it right here. This final answer becomes 1/2. That's a tricky one. All right. That's a tricky one. Same thing with this one. Square root of 72 over square root of 64. Well, square root of 64 is 8. All right. Square root of 72 is, we could simplify that into 36 times 2. Right? Square root of 36 times 2, which is square root of 36 times square root of 2, which is really just 6 root 2. The bottom is still 8. Square root of 64 was in the bottom. That's all 8. It's always just an 8 down there. And then we could simplify this. 6 divided by 8 is really 3/4. So 3 root 2 over 4 is our final answer. These are many-step problems. These are the tougher ones. All right? Let's do one more page. We'll do it in the next video. Rationalizing the denominator.